Hey everyone, my name is Robbie Wall, I'm the owner of Galactic Marketing. Today I just want to talk to you guys about the new campaigns we got, how to sell them, how it all works. First, I just want to stress the fact that they're new. Some of this isn't going to work, some of it's going to be kind of confusing. Sometimes you guys are going to be calling us up, or me or Boris, and saying, Robbie, how do I do this? What do I do? How does it work? Because it's new, we aren't going to have all the answers, so I just ask for you guys' patience. We're quickly going to figure out the answers, and we'll have a much better YouTube video for training. But right now, all of you are going to get an email that looks like this. So first, I just want to break down the commissions because this is why it's exciting. For a DirecTV single play, it pays $100, right? If you were to do a triple play with DirecTV, that means DirecTV, you could do like Viasat as the internet and Vivint as the security. That would pay you $330, right? If you did it with CenturyLink as the internet and Vivint as the security, it'd be $260. So you can make significantly more money than you were with Spectrum. However, these are all campaigns where there's often a credit check or some form, sometimes as low as $1 in terms of a down payment, right? So it's a little bit harder to sell, but there's more money. So let me explain where the more money is. For example, when you guys are doing internet-only sales in Spectrum, you only make like, I believe it's around $20, right? When you do internet-only with Viasat, which is satellite internet, you get paid $90 for an internet-only. By the way, you're probably going to be selling them DirecTV too, right? Because they need cable. So you make $190 on that double play, which is listed right here, right? DirecTV, we typically sell people where we can't sell them Spectrum or another major cable company. We go ahead and we sell them satellite because it's satellite. You can pretty much sell it anywhere and everywhere as long as the person, aka the customer, qualifies, right? So that's what's exciting. There's a lot more money on the table here for everyone to make. I got the whole commissions broken down in this email. Once again, you guys need to sign an independent contractor link, which I have right here for you guys, right? So what that is it basically breaks down these commissions guarantees we're actually going to pay you. How it works is whatever sold this week and is installed this week pays the following week on Friday via direct deposit. So it's a pretty simple breakdown. Let me tell you guys a couple unique things about our campaign that's different with everyone else's. We negotiated, once again, a no chargeback campaign with DirecTV, AT&T, Vivint, as well as CenturyLink. However, when it comes to Viasat, there is a 6-month chargeback. That means if the customer doesn't pay their bill in 6 months or they cancel in 6 months, you will get charged back on that. Now, eventually when we're doing more deals, we'll probably negotiate a better deal with them, but I just want to throw that out there as a disclaimer. Viasat, which is highlighted right here, that sale does have a 6-month chargeback. Now, granted, we are also paid like 4 or 5 times the price that we are on an internet-only sale, so it's got its pros and cons there. You're getting paid way more for internet-only, but you have the caveat of the chargeback. Once again, this is Viasat only. Everything else doesn't have a chargeback, excluding fraud or if it doesn't install, right? So basically, when we're selling, right, DirecTV, which is probably the thing that we're probably going to most commonly sell out of all the various products here, I just want to throw in some tips, tricks, and what I've learned so far, right? There's basically just 2 options when selling DirecTV. The first one is to call into a call center. So let me explain how that works. You call a call center and you have to call this number, not the number in the cheat sheet, which I'm going to show you guys in a second. You're going to call into 801-899-1454. That is dedicated for all the emerge-only reps. So they're supposed to be a little bit more competent, I don't know, hopefully a little bit better about answering the phone. So when you call in, right, let me go over to the cheat sheet here. And these attachments are in the email, so you guys can kind of leave. This is basically the breakdown of how to process a sale. Here's what I highly, highly suggest. First, you got to sell the customer, right? So you're going to sell the customer, and you're going to tell them, whatever the price is and whatever the product you're selling. So the different products you can sell on DirecTV are listed in here. And let me just go to the ones we care about really quick, which is right here. So the most commonly sold products we're selling right now are the $35 and $40 a month ones. We don't get paid more if we sell more over here, so don't worry about that. Down here, all the products we're selling include the 2018 NFL Sunday Ticket. That means you can watch every football game in the country, anywhere. right? That's going on a specific team. You can watch all the teams. So that comes free with any package. Another cool thing is for the first 3 months, regardless of package, your customer is going to get HBO, Starz, Cinemax, Showtime, etc. If you're selling them Spectrum, they got to pay an extra $20 a month for this. So the fact that these guys get it for the first 3 months for free. Now after that, if they want to keep it, the price goes up, right? The breakdown of it is right there. However, the most commonly one I've been selling lately is this $40 a month. Now, it's $40 a month with autopay. It's $45 a month without autopay. So you got to ask your customer, hey, if you're doing autopay, it's going to be this price. But if you're not doing autopay, it's going to be $5 more a month for any of the prices that I'm quoting you. So that's just something to throw out there to the customer so they understand. Next is, here's the thing about DirecTV, guys. Many of you are probably not familiar with like satellites and just generally the Earth in general, right? So if I was to go to Google Street View here, see this house here, let's say this customer is a DirecTV customer, right? They need a what's called line of sight, meaning the satellite, let's imagine there's a satellite right here. The satellite actually has to be viewing the equator, which we're in the United States. The equator is that line in the middle of the Earth that goes all the way around the Earth. So how that works is the satellite has to be pointing south towards the equator. So if there's something like trees in the way, there's a chance we might send someone out there to install, and it can't be installed because these trees are in the way. So to avoid problems like that, what I do is I figure out which way the trees are pointing, which I can clearly see. Red is always pointing north. I need it to be able to point south. So south is kind of this direction. I'm not 100% sure if there's going to be a line of sight here, right? Just by looking at the satellite. So I would just let the customer know, hey, we're going to do our best to install it, but you might have some line of sight problems because these trees might be in the way. They might not. I think there's a 50% chance because the trees are pretty thin here. It might make it through. But just be aware there is physical conditions that limit us from selling every single customer. So if you want an idea, all you do is you type in your customer's address here on Google Maps, go to Street View, and just take a look and see if there's going to be a ton of trees. If there's a ton of trees, there's a chance that you might not be able to sell that customer. So I'm just throwing it out there. That's something that's really important to know. Going back over here to the packages, it's basically got everything here. If they get their DVR is a little bit different than ours. Their DVR basically is called I believe it's called the Genie. And what it does is it can cover up to 5 TVs. So TV feed basically is the Genie HDR. It's included in all packages. So basically between 1 and 5 TVs, it's whatever price you're quoting. You don't have to quote additional dollar amounts for additional TVs as long as it's under 5. When it gets over 5, you can go into the HD, the HD Mini, etc., etc. The pricing is broken down here, and you can just tell the customer, hey, it's a one-time fee of $100. Regional sports fees is basically if they want to pay extra money for just the sports in their general area, it's an extra $7.49 a month. So when selling DirecTV, you kind of want to ask more questions about what they're watching, what they're into, stuff like that, because DirecTV's got a lot of channel lineup options, and different customers might have different tastes and obviously different packages. So you want to learn a little bit more about your customer. This is more of an over-the-phone sale. So those of you doing just stuff off Facebook, getting that phone number is really important, and then I highly suggest calling your customer and really figuring out what they want and building the relationship there. Why? Because more often than not, I'll go into customer qualifications. More often than not, you're asking for a social security number. Here's how you ask for a social security number. So I'm going to need you to run your credit, most likely. I'm going to need your social. If you just want to tell me that now, that's it. You just ask just straight up, I need your social. Just very casually, nonchalant. If you try and make a big deal out of it, they're going to make a big deal out of it. I highly, highly suggest, it's a lot different than Spectrum. When you're doing DirecTV sales, let me go to what's required in a DirecTV sale. So here's the steps of selling, right? I'm just going to fast forward into the requirements. They're all right here. So before you even call in, you need to figure out all the customer's personal information, their name, their address, their phone number, their email, all that good stuff. We don't need their birthday in this situation. However, I like writing all this down. Just when I do work now, I do it when I do DirecTV. I just have a blank piece of paper in front of me and I write down everything for the customer, right? What's your name? What's your address? What's your email? What's your phone number? What's your social? Okay, great. This is what's going to happen, Mr. Customer. I'm going to call into the call center, and then they're going to give you a call back, and they're going to read you a script, basically just breaking down this stuff right here. So here's the actual script. Where did it go? They're going to call back and just ask, they're going to read stuff to the customer. Oh, here we go. Here's the script, the welcome call script. They're going to say, hello, who am I speaking with? I'm speaking with Robbie Wall. Okay, great. My name is blah, blah, blah. This is what's going on. Do you rent or own? You know, they just have some basic questions for the customers, and you got to brief the customer on this ahead of time. So I kind of tell them what's going on in the script before they call, so there's no surprises, right? It talks about a processing fee of $35. If you want to charge the customer a processing fee of $35 up front, you can. You guys get to keep 100% of the processing fee if you want to charge them a processing fee. So the commissions, once again, are over here. You're making $100 a DirecTV sale. So if you want to make $135 a DirecTV sale, just charge them the processing fee. If you don't want to charge them a processing fee, I'm not going to, then don't charge them it. They are going to charge that processing fee up front. Now, a customer might say basic things like, you know, how does this work, or how does the processing fee work and all that stuff. They're going to be charged up front for the processing fee, right? So what we want to do is, my advice is just to avoid the processing fee altogether, right? So going back into the commissions, let me just see if I can find that screen here. Here we go. Going back to the commissions, I would just stick to the $100. I mean, if you're talking to what you feel is a really rich customer, maybe sell them at $135. But going back into the script here, it's really important we understand these questions. They're going to be asking these basic questions. Do you rent or own? Hey, we're going to need permission from your landlord because we got to put a satellite on your roof, and we want to know if that's okay, right? Do you currently have AT&T Uverse? Just tell the customer ahead of time to say no, because you obviously would have already known if they had Uverse. Processing fee waived, obviously it's not going to be one unless you're asking for it. And here's another major question. The customer service representative is also going to ask you this. Is the customer going to do auto pay or non-auto pay? Here's how auto pay works. That means they're taking the money out of your bank account or credit card every single month. They get $5 less on their bill per month if they do auto pay. So we strongly encourage auto pay, right? In addition to that, you need to tell the customer service representative ahead of time if they want to do auto pay or not. That's actually one of the qualifying questions when we go down here. See how it says auto pay, yes or no? So you've got to ask the customer all these questions, write them down on a piece of paper, and then call in. That's a much better strategy than just trying to wing it, right? So the process, once again, is I'm just gonna go over starting at the email. You're gonna call in and you need to tell them a few things when you call into the call center. First, you just need to identify that you're talking to someone that can help you. So when you call in, hey, my name is Robbie, I'm processing a DirecTV deal, or I'm processing a Viasat deal, I'm processing a Vivint deal, an AT&T deal, I'm processing a CenturyLink deal. That way we know right off the bat, can this person help me or not, and hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. Then you're gonna tell them, your vendor is Emerge, I-M-M-E-R-G-E. Next, you're going to tell them, hey, the IBO, the company I work for, is Galactic Marketing. It's out of the Los Angeles office. I know some of you guys are located all throughout the country. Just say Los Angeles office. That just keeps it simple. So once again, Galactic Emerge as the vendor, Galactic Marketing is the company, and the LA office is the office. Then you're going to say your rep ID. Like, the rep ID is usually 5 digits, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll tell you guys your individual rep IDs. They'll be emailed or texted to you. So from there, they're going to ask customer information, and then here's where it gets semi-complicated, right? So let's go into how credit works. There's 2 different kinds of credit checks. I broke it down in writing here, but basically they use what's called a STAR system. Right, so the STAR system, right, is composed of obviously stars. So like a 1 star, right, like when you stay at a 1-star hotel, it's a shithole. That obviously means you also have shit credit if you have 1-star credit. If you have good credit, obviously 5-star would be the good credit, just like a 5-star hotel. So what's going on is your customer is going to be between 0 and 5 stars, right? No stars basically means that they just can't validate the customer. Like the last name was spelled wrong, first name was spelled wrong. So when you're talking to customers and you're getting their information, you need to tell them, hey, we're going to start out, we're going to do a soft credit check, Mr. Customer. But if we don't get you qualified, we're going to run a hard credit check. So I really need to make sure I'm spelling your address accurately and I'm spelling your name correct. Because if you don't verify the spelling of a customer's name and their address, I can guarantee you every single deal you run will just fail automatically. Not because the customer has good or bad credit, just because the name given didn't match their identity just because you spelled their name wrong, right? So it's just really important to get accurate customer information, right? So once again, you write all that down on a piece of paper before you call in. Now, here's how the deal works. You'll call in with the customer. This is what happened to me yesterday. I called in, I gave customer information, right? It came back as 1-star credit, right? And I knew I'm not really supposed to be focusing too much on 1 and 2-star customers. We can only do 25% of our sales as 1 or 2-star customers. After that, it's just not going to let us sell 1 or 2-star customers, only 3-star and above, right? So I opted to run a credit check on the customer, right? So I gave the socials, we ran a credit check on them, and it came back as still a fail. So then I called back and said, hey, is there anyone else in the household? And can I run their credit? So then I spoke to the next person, ran their credit, and it went through. You can try up to 4 different names or whatever's, identities, right? Per address, right? So here's the rules in DirecTV. You can attempt to do something 4 times. So a soft credit check counts as 1 time. A hard credit check counts as another time, right? Even if it's the same identity. So if my name was John Smith and I was a customer, right, and they were running my credit as a soft credit check, that counts as once. Then let's say I failed, and I'm like, oh, let's try John Smith with a hard credit check. Let's use a social. That counts as time number 2. You're only allowed to do this up to 4 times. So you want to be very careful. The best way to do this is just ask your customers up front, like, hey, this is going to be based on credit. Can you kind of tell me, do you have really bad credit, okay credit, good credit? Here's the thing. We can put it under anyone's name. We just need someone with like okay or good credit. If they got bad credit, you're probably not going to get the deal, and I don't want to waste your time. So if it's not 600 or above, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to help you, right? So it's just good to talk to your customers and tell them what's going on ahead of time. Even if you aren't even going to do the hard credit check, you're just going to do the soft credit check. You just want to tell them like, hey, we are going to do a soft credit check, and we would prefer to use an individual that has decent credit so it goes through smooth. That's how I would break it down and explain it to the customer. So from there, they're going to determine what they qualify for. This doesn't affect their price. It just basically affects how they're going to be dealing with the customer and where the customer falls in line, right? Really, it affects you more than it does the customer. Next is how this works is they're then going to call the customer back, and they're going to ask them those questions that I went over in the script, right? So in the script on the cheat sheet, which you guys are going to have a copy of, they're going to go through this. We call it a TBB, right? So you have to brief, before you get off the phone with the customer, you got to brief your customer. Hey, in about, I don't know, we'll call it between 5 and 10 minutes, you're going to get a call from a stranger. It's going to be DirecTV calling you directly to just ask you a few questions. Then they're going to ask you for your credit card information. Please make sure there's at least $1 on that credit card. They're going to charge you $1 today. Just $1, right? What that's called is a microcharge. They just want to make sure that that credit card, even if it's a prepaid card, is active and it's real, so that when the bill comes, they know they can actually collect money from you. That's all that's going down. We aren't charging them the full amount up front, so you can still say no money down. It's just a microcharge of $1, and then I think they return it later, right? So we aren't really taking money from the customer. We're just really just confirming that we can do a transaction with the customer, right? For the exact details of what I told you guys is in regards to the 25% and the 20% and credit qualifying policy. It's all in here, so I'm not going to go over too much on that. Service addresses. Please make sure service addresses are correct. When you change, like, let's say you do 1400 West 3rd Street and it's really West 3rd Drive or West 3rd Avenue, you cannot do any address manipulation, so please just verify it in Google Maps and make sure you're giving them the correct address. Nothing sucks more than selling a deal and then finding out the installer can't find your address, right? Only 1 phone number is allowed to run per name. Please verify the number prior to qualification. That's pretty basic. So that's option one. I know this has been a long video and you guys are like, wait, I thought there was two options we could do. The second option I'm going to call option number two. It's pretty great. It's called Sales Rabbit, right? So Sales Rabbit. Sales Rabbit is software. It's kind of like it's some software that I'm paying for. It's kind of like Spectrum, how we do a deal on Spectrum right now, where we just do the deal ourselves and there's no calling in and all that fun stuff. It's a great program. It's really easy to use. I have not used it yet. I know nothing about it other than it's good. Here's what I do know about it. I have to pay money for every single person that uses it. So I will put you guys on Sales Rabbit as long as you agree to do at least like one deal a week in DirecTV. Otherwise, I'm just wasting money. So for now, everyone except for a few people that have sold DirecTV is going to be put on option one where you're calling into the call center. Once you get your first deal, call me up and say, hey Robbie, it was cool, but I want to do DirecTV now with Sales Rabbit. I've done my first sale, I get how to do it, but yeah, I'd way rather use Sales Rabbit. Then I'll put you on Sales Rabbit. Right? I just think for the first few sales, let's go ahead and do the call center. Once you get good at it, then I'll pay for Sales Rabbit for you so you'll have your own login, your own software, the whole nine, right? So that's sort of the game changer there. Sales Rabbit makes it really smooth. There's no calling into a call center. It's much easier to do. You can run everything right then and there. It's a great program. However, I've never used it and I know nothing about it in terms of how it works. So for those of you that will use it, I won't be able to answer a lot of your questions like I usually do. I'll do my best to get you answers, but I'll usually have to like call up the company themselves, ask them the question, and then get back to you. It won't be a very fast response. So I'm hoping this broke down the campaign and how it works. If you guys have any questions, just reply back or give me a call. But you guys should all be getting this email shortly. Thank you.